All right, I'm back. Researching Your Roots is the name of my YouTube channel. Researching. Okay, it's not with a G on the end. It's with RESEARCHIN apostrophe space your space roots. Researching. Just so you know. I'd like to welcome you back if you're watching. This is Thomas Goins. On Facebook, I'm Tommy Goins, TOMMYGOINS. I have my Facebook account. And eventually I will make a link for you to be able to subscribe to my or be a follower of me or a friend of mine on Facebook, and I'm going to create an Instagram account. I don't really like Twitter, but I may start one of those too. It's a little difficult for me to use. I'm used to things like Facebook and stuff. So this is my newest video. Today is November 21st, 2019. I mentioned back in one of the other videos, maybe two of them, recently that I have an account called newspapers.com. I pay $75 every 6 months, so it's about $150 a year. It's a little less than that, a few pennies or something. Newspapers.com. So they have all kinds of newspapers that have been imaged and digitized and are available on a website on the internet. But it costs you money. Newspapers.com claims to be the largest online newspaper archive. I have no idea if that's true. There are other newspaper type websites that have archives of digitized images of newspapers that you can subscribe to. I don't know if there's any out there that are free. I've never looked. And so I'm just doing my video today on this one that I use. It's been very helpful. They do have a way for you to do a 14-day free trial. I have not opened that yet. So if you want to go to newspapers.com and you don't have a subscription, you haven't paid for it, it should have on the home page where you can click on the 14-day free trial. I'm going to presume that they require that you put in a credit card number, maybe even a debit card. I don't know. I haven't looked at that for y'all. I haven't looked at a lot of things, but I want to show you newspapers.com, how I use it to find information. It says here, discover your ancestors in historical newspapers. I would say about 20% to around 33+% of my ancestors' information I found has been on newspapers.com, believe it or not. Or at least the information was in there as well as somewhere else. And so it serves as two or more civil records or records that are visible to your eyes to help back you up in knowing whether or not the information you have on your ancestors is correct or not. Granted, there's going to be mistakes in the newspapers too, but that's why we try to get 2 or 3 different sources, even more sources if you can find them, on the spelling of your ancestors' names and their and then the correctness of the birth, death, marriage, and other event information, dates and places. So here we have a search window And you can just type anything in you want. You see there's a lot of stuff I've typed in. These are names of my ancestors or names of people I've helped look for their ancestors. Most of the time I don't find anything, like 60+% of the time I don't find anything. But these are really neat. So I'm going to put in an ancestor that I know came up in this newspapers.com database. And that was my grandfather, Robert Burbig. That's my mom's dad. That's her maiden name. And when you put the name like this and you click on search, it gives you some more options to choose from. Here it says there are 1,235 matches where Robert Burbig are found in newspapers, or one of the other word is found in the newspapers. Now, one of the things it gives you a choice to do now, another option is time period. So you can put just 1 year in here, or you can put a range of years. My grandfather was born in 1906. So I'm going to put his birth date, and then I'm going to put the word to, and he died in 1983. And then I'm going to click on update. And so what it's going to look for are Robert Burbig or one of those two words in newspapers from 1906 to 1983. And then after I click on update, I'm going to come down here and pick out Arkansas, because that's where he lived most of his childhood, I guess pretty much all of his childhood, and parts of his adult life until he moved to Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm going to check Arkansas first and then Tennessee. So I'll update with the year range. And you'll notice that pops up here. And then I'm going to go and pick Arkansas, and it has 197 matches, and Tennessee only has 8. So I'm going to check Arkansas. Now you'll notice up here that the words or the name Robert Burbig splits up. This is not with the Burbig, so it's with the Chapman. But I'm going to go ahead and look, because there is a Burbig, and if there's a Burbig in Arkansas, it's probably my relative. So I'm going to go ahead and open this just in case and look at it. It's from April 28th, 1922 in the Pine Bluff, Arkansas, in the town Pine Bluff, Arkansas, in this newspaper. And Pine Bluff is where my grandfather was born and lived for many years. I just figured out I can hide that. Let me see if I can get rid of this stuff over here. Yeah, there we go. Now, F.C. Burbig. F.C. Burbig was Frederick Carl. That was my great-grandfather, or my great-great-grandfather. Or it was Robert Burbig, my grandfather's brother. So there were 3 men named Fred Carl, or Frederick Carl Burbig, or Frederick Carlton. It just depends. So this is this actually is an article that has the name of my ancestor in there, but not Robert Burbig. So I'm just gonna. Well, wait. It says there's three listings here. Well, they're probably talking about the 3 yellow pieces here, so or yellow patches. I'm still going to go back, look at a different one. This one doesn't look like Robert Burbig. There we have F.C. Burbig again, but that's not what I'm looking for. F.C. is either his father or grandfather. Father or grandfather of my grandfather, Robert. But these are all articles, what it says Burb again, are all articles about people that I am related to. So here's one. I think this is my grandfather. When he was just a kid, they called him Bobby. So Master Bobby Burbig of Pine Bluff is visiting Mrs. F. Burbig. I'll make that a little bigger for you. So this is how you can find information about your ancestors in newspapers.com. And this does refer to my grandfather, Bobby Burbig, and his mom, Faye Shipp, S-H-I-P-P Burbig. She married Fred Burbig. So that's interesting. It doesn't tell me much about the visit, but it's just an interesting tidbit. Their family was in this area, Pine Bluff and Little Rock areas, for many decades. And so they appear quite a few times in some of the newspapers in those two towns in Arkansas. Let's go back. So I just used the back arrow there. And when you come back to this, you kind of have to go back to where you came from. It's a little difficult to find where the last paper was that you looked at. But here's the one we looked at. Not sure what this says, but I know it's not Robert Burbig, so I'm just going to skip that. Those are not my relative. That's William Burbig, not Robert. So there's another thing you can do if you're not finding what you want. You can come up here and click on this. I got rid of that. And now I'm going to put in quotation marks. And then I'm going to put my grandfather's name in quotation marks, telling the computer that what I'm really looking for is the phrase Robert Burbig in that year period, 1906 to 83, in the state of Arkansas. I'm going to go ahead and click the search button again and see if that changes it. It doesn't. So I'm not sure what happened because I could have sworn I found him in some newspapers. So let me get rid of this, see if it'll find Robert Burbig. I'm not seeing it. So I thought Robert Burbig was in there. Maybe I was thinking of Fred Burbig. So I'm going to pick another relative. Put him in quotation marks. William C. S-H-I-P-P, Shipp. This is the father of Faye Shipp, who was the mother of Robert Burbig, my grandfather. So Will C. Shipp was my great-great-grandfather, and Faye was my great-grandmother. So let's see what happens. Click on the search button. There, it looks like something's come up. Let me enlarge this screen for you so you can see better. So we see that in this newspaper article, we actually have the phrase William C. Shipp. May or may not be my relative. Okay? One of the reasons I say that, it might not be, is that I'm not aware of him ever being in North Carolina or Mississippi. So I'm going to go down to the, I'm going to go down to the United States map here, narrow by location. And I know he was in Arkansas all the time. So I'm going to click on Arkansas. And I see right away the word cap, or the abbreviation for captain. And I know that he was a steamboat captain back between about 1850 or so and 1913 when he died at the age of about 83 or so. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this newspaper. This happens to be in Little Rock at the time. The one below it is in Baxter County, Arkansas, and there's a town called Mountain Home in Baxter County, Arkansas. And I think he either lived there or was often there doing work. So I'm going to click on this first one in the Daily Arkansas Gazette, which is November 23rd, 1905, and see what it says. And this is about my ancestor. I remember this. This is in 1905. And I know he didn't die for 8 more years, or nearly 8 more years. He died in 1913. I can't remember what month, so between 7 and 8 years later. But this article I will make a little larger for you to see. And it says, Captain W.C. Ship seriously ill. Captain William C. Ship is dangerously ill at Helena, that's in Arkansas. Mrs. Ship and son Ralph left for Helena last night, being called by telegram to the bedside of Captain Ship, who was stricken with malarial fever several days ago. Captain Ship is the oldest steamboat captain and pilot on the Mississippi and White Rivers and is well known all over the state. The White River is actually in Arkansas. I don't know that it goes into any other states, but the Mississippi obviously goes through many states. I know that William C. Ship went as far as Cairo, Illinois. I don't know that he went any further than that or farther in his steamboat career. So there's an article. Now, if I wanted to keep that article, I could do a print screen of what I'm looking at. I could do Control, print screen, and then I could open a document and I could paste the image of this entire screen into a document, such as Word document or whatever type of document you use for typing documents. Or I can go and use the feature here where the scissors is found on the button. You click that button with your left mouse button, click it once, and you get this little cropping tool thing comes up, and you can expand it to get the entire article, which isn't very big, it's just one paragraph. Then if you want, you can type details in here. I don't usually do that. I just usually clip. Then I come down here and click View Clipping so I can actually see what it looks like. And this is what it looks like. And then what I usually do is I click on my right mouse button, and it gives me these options, and I usually copy the image, and then I open a Word document. That's what I use, Microsoft Word. And I open a blank one, and I usually go to Layout, and I make the margins really small, 1/2 inch all the way around, so I have more space to store information. Then I copy with the keys that image into this document. And then you can make it as big as you want. That I can read without any trouble. Now I can get more stuff on the screen. I'm sorry about the sniffing, folks. I was listening to some of my videos, and yes, I can hear myself sniffing. That may be gross to you. I apologize. I hope you can see this pasted image here. It's supposed to be this new program, Loom, L-O-O-M, is supposed to be recording the entire screen every time I have it visible. So hopefully you can see that I just pasted that small 1-paragraph article image into a Microsoft Word document. And that way I can get a lot of different information, clippings for my relatives. And I would just save this as Will C. Ship, or whatever I want to call him. William C. Ship, And then I usually save it on the desktop or in my gen documents, the genealogy documents, and just put that in there. Okay, and then I'm just going to close that. So that's how you use newspapers.com. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments section of my YouTube channel below this video. And please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And I would really appreciate if you give me a thumbs up even out of pity so I can get my 1,000 subscribers. And then subscribe, folks. I've put a little button that you can click on, on the bottom right portion of the screen.